Hey there. So I wanted to address some things in the first 30 episodes of One Piece, where they're still in the East Blue. Before I do that, I did want to mention a couple of things in general. I intend to continue doing the shorts every day for every episode. I'm going to do two a day and go through the entire series. Now, I understand that some of them are not the best shorts you've ever seen on YouTube. I get that. What I'm trying to do there partially is improve my ability to develop exactly what I'm doing there. That short snippet kind of instant review kind of thing. Now, I don't know how many of you out there have ever tried to do this kind of thing, but you'll discover there's some weird things that happen when you are speaking in front of a camera like this. So, there was one of my watchers mentioned that I had mispronounced Baratier. Yeah, I know. I had it in my head, Baratier, Baratier, Baratier. I'd watch the episodes, Baratier, Baratier. And then when I get to do the video, all of a sudden, Bateria, Barata, Burtra, nothing, nothing like what it's supposed to be. I mean, Luffy. Who can mispronounce Luffy? No, you watch some of the videos, I call him Luffy a couple of times. Yeah, I know his name is Luffy. Of course I know his name is Luffy. But this happens. The most recent one one of the most recent ones where I talked about, I think his name is Red Boots Zeph. You know, the leader, the owner of the Baratier. See, there it is, Baratier. The leader of the Baratier, the owner. Yeah, I called him Redfoot. In the one of the videos I've done, I referred to the pirate who put the One Piece on the Grand Line somewhere. I refer to him as Red Roger, or Red something. I think I called him Red something. Couldn't you remember Roger? He's Gold Roger. Gold Roger. It's said every single episode in the credits. And yeah, I actually do sometimes watch the credits, even now. Yeah, I know the credits are easy to skip. I know that song can get really, really annoying. But I do watch them, usually. And I watch every episode probably two or three times. I've seen every episode of the first 100 at least once. Some of them I've seen 5 or 6 times prior to doing this. So, but I'm rewatching every one of them just prior to doing the video. Usually, maybe sometimes a few hours before, but within that day, within that 12-hour period, I've watched the episode. So it's pretty fresh on my mind. I did watch a little bit of the live action, and I have read a little bit of the manga, and I've been interested in watching some of the movies, but I'm wary of doing that because, the details of the plot are complicated enough. The long sweep of things, not so difficult. You have Zoro or Zolo, who is a master swordsman who uses 3 swords. You have Luffy, who's eaten the devil fruit, which I also called like the dragon fruit or something at one point. You have Luffy, who ate the devil fruit that makes him stretch. It's the gum gum fruit. And you have, Nami, who is a master of navigation, etc. These characters are pretty much the same with each iteration, but the exact details are a little bit different. I do not know in the official anime what the story is going to be about the devil fruit if we ever find out for sure about them. In the English dub, it says that you lose the ability to swim. The exact punishment for eating a devil fruit is a little bit different in some of the others. You lose all your power whatsoever. Like in the live action, that is what happens. You don't lose your ability to swim; you lose your power altogether. So it's similar but a little bit different. And there are other little differences like that between them. And and in order to continue to doing these little episodes without losing focus on what's actually going on in the actual episode and not just that moment then the story arc, I am not trying to look at those other media all that much. I will, I think, look at them on occasion, but I think that's going to be the exception instead of the rule. I don't think it's a very good idea for me to expose myself to too much of this other media about One Piece. Someone mentioned that the story is told in arcs. I know. You have, the larger arc of the East Blue right now, and within the East Blue, you have, your little buggy section. You have your little what is it? Calidor, the cat pirates, black cat pirates. You have that little thing. You have, the most recent one I've watched, which is the Baratier. You have that whole arc where Sanji Luffy. See, Luffy picks up Sanji. And I know the next one's going to be Arlong, and I know they're going to go look at Baroque Works and whatnot. I forgot the exact order of things after Arlong, but I know Baroque Works is coming. And I know they go to that island where Gold Roger actually was killed 20 years prior. So I know, where they're going, and I know it's told in arcs. And so someone mentioned that. I know. The numbers I give these, the season 1, episode whatever, that is how they're listed in Netflix where I'm watching them, and that's how they're listed on Wikipedia where I am getting the descriptions. Now, I'm typically not reading the Wikipedia entries. I don't want to just regurgitate what Wikipedia says. That's no good. So I'm typically not reading those. If I look at the Wikipedia, it's just for that little title I give it, and for sometimes a name passes by that I want to remember and can't remember exactly. So I go and check the description for the name. But other than that, I stay out of Wikipedia on One Piece. It's like I said, what's the point of me regurgitating that? You can go to Wikipedia and read it yourself, obviously. And one of the reasons why I'm doing 1-minute shorts as opposed to larger form videos is, you don't want to hear me mouth off on every episode for 10, 15 minutes. Each episode has about 20 minutes of original content. Go watch that. That's what you are as a One Piece fan or as a person who may be interested in One Piece. That's what you want. You don't want to watch me mouth off about every episode for 20 minutes. That would be stupid, honestly. And I wouldn't blame you for ignoring me altogether if I did that. And that's why I'm doing the 1-minute shorts. Because I figure a 1-minute, really just a little recap, a little, what I saw that was important, could be helpful, could be useful, and it keeps me engaged. It keeps me watching it. And that is what the other side of what I wanted to do here briefly is talk about the kinds of opponents that the Red Hat crew has gone up against so far and where they stack as pirates. And I tell you right now, they're not really pirates in any meaningful sense. I mean, take the moment when they arrive at the Baratier, and what happens? They have this Navy boat, and this Navy boat shoots a cannonball at them, and Luffy deflects it accidentally and puts a hole in the roof of the Baratier. And then he agrees to work off the debt he got by putting this hole in the roof. That's not what a pirate does. A pirate does what Don Krieg does, which is when he comes in starving, he eats his food and then immediately decides, hey, I like this place. I'm going to take it. Now, who am I to say what pirates do and don't do? That's true. This is an alternate reality. But as we have seen, all of the pirates that, except for Red Shanks perhaps, that Luffy has encountered so far are kind of on this negative, destructive, self-involved kind of approach. You have Avila, the first one, and you have Buggy, and then you have Kuro, then the Black Cats, and then you have Krieg. And each of them approaches this a little bit differently. Buggy's very interested in spectacle. He is, piracy is spectacle. Everything is flashily done. Flashily, flashily, flashily is done, said so many times. Which, by the way, flashily is the English dub. I do not know 2 words of Japanese, so I can't really comment on what's happening in the sub version. But I do watch the videos with the subtitles on them, and the differences between the two are really sometimes quite interesting. In one scene, you have Patty, the kind of Popeye-ish cook at the Baratie, the one with the big forearms. He comes out of the bathroom, and in the English version, it says something like, our motto is the customer will feed the customer, blah, blah, blah. But when in the sub, it says something like, I just had the best dump. And very different, very different. And so I imagine that the Japanese, which is probably closer to the sub, the Japanese is probably a little earthier, a little more visceral than the English dub. The English dub is probably slightly cleaned up. And this is the thing. I mean, who is One Piece for? Who is the audience? There are elements of it that are very childish, and there are other elements of it that are more adult. Like, the whole scene where they deal with scurvy. Okay, this is a weird fantasy world where weird fantasy things happen, like Gum Gum Fruits and Buggy and Luffy and whatnot, and where somebody does something crazy like fight with 3 swords, and that somehow manages to work. And you have, but yet you have scurvy, which is a very real phenomenon, a very real disease in the world that these pirates get. That was a very, very odd thing. And then Don Krieg bringing in all this technology, this reinforced steel thing. At the same time, he's got this Pearl guy who's got this weird, magical, glowing power. I don't know what he's doing, catching himself on fire or something. So, it's a very interesting world. And then like with Krieg shooting the poison gas pellet, also, that was interesting. Okay. And then, and maybe somewhere down the line, some of these things will be explored further or will be explained in some kind of way. We'll get a sense of what the level of technology is here, because, Don Krieg showed a level of technology that is quite advanced for most of what everyone else has. There have been guns, obviously, but there haven't been guns like the kinds of guns that Don Krieg had. Don Krieg had modern rifled bullets, it looked like. Something much more modern, whereas Luffy and Red Shanks and other people, not Luffy, but the things that Luffy has faced, and the guns that the Red Shank pirates had, those guns were what you'd expect for more of a 17th century, maybe even an early 18th century kind of approach. I am no expert on the history of guns, but they're definitely an older model, older concept of a gun, and probably a early rifled or pre-rifled kind of barrel, which is a very different kind of animal. We still live in a world in which Zoro's sword fighting can effectively compete against a gun. One of the reasons why swords went out as a soldier's weapon is because they simply can't compete with modern guns. Yeah, sure, in close combat, they're actually pretty useful. But, when you can shoot somebody with a gun from 200, 300, 400 yards, forget it. The sword doesn't even get close. So already with the cannons, you would think that swords might be a little on the decline. But, of course, this is applying some concepts of realism to a frankly and deliberately non-realistic story, and obviously an adventure story. So, there's certain escapism here. I did want to mention another little quirky thing that seems like a bit of a gap in the story, which is Gin apparently, when Don Krieg's ships came back from the Grand Line, apparently the only that one made it. All the others were destroyed by Hawkeye Mihawk. Another name that's difficult to just get on the fly like that. You'd be surprised. Anyway, when he came back from the Grand Line, Geen sacrificed himself to the Marines, right? And that's why he was with the the full metal fist guy. I forget what his name is. But that's why he was with that guy, because he sacrificed himself so the other ones could get away. Okay, and then he escapes from that and gets into the Baratier, and the whole story happens. But while he's outside, there's a Marine boat out there, and that Marine boat fires that one cannonball at the Going Merry in order to destroy it. It's deflected, hits the Baratier, and then they give up. What happened to the Marines? Now, I know that when things start getting real crazy, the Marine guy who was inside with his date, he crawls away and they leave. Okay, I get that. But also, who are the Marines? Where do they come from? What is their base? What does the government look like here? Because now this thing has happened at the Baratier, where this Marine captain was humiliated, and where these pirates came in, and all this happened. Okay, and he left after giving only one shot to these new pirates, which no one's ever seen before. These red hat pirates. Who knows what they're up to? Straw hat pirates. Who knows what they're up to? You would think that this guy is going to go back to his commander, and the Marines are going to come back in force and level this place, because, that's what would happen in any kind of realistic situation where you had this very authoritarian power like the Marines. And maybe, I don't know, maybe the Baratier comes back into the story at another time. Maybe that metal guy comes back in at another time. I don't recall him in the 100 or so episodes that I've seen, but then again, there are 1,122 episodes, so I've got a ways to go. Okay, so that's enough for now. But anyway, just so you'll know, I am enjoying it. We all know the animation isn't perfect. There are some weird things. There's some, there's some gaps in the story, just some weird moments, like the Marines just firing the one shot and leaving, or like I mentioned one time, one of the shorts where Django, who walks backwards, was suddenly walking forward all the time. Nobody's perfect. But overall, I do enjoy the story. It is interesting, and I'm very, very, very excited to eventually get past what I have seen and into the material that I haven't seen yet. It's going to be a while doing 2 a day, and I'm only doing 2 a day because I don't want to overload this. I mean, I know 2 a day is going to be doing this forever. I get that. But if I did more than 2 a day, well, I mean, that would be putting 3, 4, 5, 6 videos on my channel at once, and even as shorts, I just feel they would just get lost in the shuffle. There's just way, 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 way too many. So to the degree that anyone wants to watch this at all, to the degree that you want to hear my thoughts, you want to engage, 2 a day. And by the way, nobody's commenting very much, which is, I get. A lot of people just want to watch, or they just see for a minute and decide, not for me, move on. I get it. But I do appreciate anybody's engagements, anyone's comments. Even if you're critiquing me, that's great. I don't mind. I'm putting this out there. I deserve to be critiqued, and critique will only help me get better at what I'm doing and make this more what somebody might want to see and might want to enjoy. So if you have thoughts, if you have opinions, if you want me to know what's going on in your world, drop me a message. Let me know. And and if this is something that you want me to continue doing, is something you want me to encourage me to do, drop a like, drop a subscribe, and let me know. That's a way I can know that I'm on the right track in doing these things. And I'm small. I got 40 some odd followers at the moment. Hey, look, 40 is more than 0, and I'll just do what I can do and go where I go. So if you're enjoying it, thanks. If you're not enjoying it, tell me what I can do to make it better. Next time.